RK's Guyana Free Media presents for human development and national development this message.
Yes, a very good morning, good afternoon, good night, as the case might be, friends and families in Guyana, friends and families around the world. This is another Series 9 of the Elections Fiasco Guyana, brought to you by RK's Guyana Free Press. Updating you on situations and things around Guyana that needs growth, work, help, assistance, humanity, and also on things that matters for our nation. As you're well aware, in this series I was updating you as to the madness and the fiasco and the craziness that's going on in Guyana, which will bring only pain and shame if the current trend perpetuates, the current trend continues, as we see by powers, the few, the very few in the minority, the extremely few, who are trying to bring pain and hate and disgrace and shame to Guyana, possibly destruction of our economy, destruction of our country, and turning our peoples of the various races against each other. When we are always known to live in love, goodwill, harmony, and joy, celebrating each other's holidays, celebrating each other's joys, and feeling for each other's pain. Friends and families, it is a terrible thing that's been going on in Guyana. And I wish to, therefore, now, for the time being, for maybe part 9 and part 10, give you letters and views and opinions that were given out by prominent citizens of Guyana and maybe some observers from around the world, the CARICOM, the Commonwealth. Sir Shridath Ramphal, a household name in Guyana, the Caribbean, the Commonwealth, and in many countries around the world, a hero of Guyana, a true patriot of Guyana, and respecter of all political parties, and only wanting the development and growth of Guyana. After Mottley was forced, that's the Prime Minister of Barbados and the current head of CARICOM, to recall her ambassadors from the CARICOM who came to watch over the recount or to supervise the recount to ensure that it's properly calibrated and done in the interest of law, order, and democracy. So Shridath Ramphal says that CARICOM can still supervise the recount if leaders put Guyana first. In a statement he said, in the darkness of disagreement, CARICOM's helpful intervention in trying to resolve the general elections process at the request of both President Granger and opposition leader Barajagdeo was a ray of light. Ramphal said that all should have welcomed the recount and that the role CARICOM attempted to play is wholly legitimate. My words. SS Ramphal is also a senior counsel and a master in law. Back to Mr. Shridath Ramphal's words. However, an injunction was filed for at the last moment on Tuesday last by a candidate on the list of the incumbent coalition and was granted by Justice Franklin Holder. It effectively blocked the recount. Ramphal said that it is regrettable that CARICOM delegation invited after the agreement between the leaders of the two major political parties, David Granger and Barajagdeo, was made, has had to withdraw from Guyana. My words now. It pains to know that these amazing people sacrificing their time within hours of the request to come into Guyana to help us solve our crisis, that they were forced to withdraw from Guyana. What a shame upon the government of Guyana, the CARICOM, and to all of us here in Guyana. Back to Mr. Ramphal's essay or points. Guyana has been deprived of regional and international approval and the opportunity for global respect at a time when it matters most indeed. This was a time when the Caribbean, many countries in the Commonwealth and around the world, and mostly in the CARICOM, were looking to Guyana as a savior, at a time when the people should be enjoying the best of life and excitement and joy because of the major oil and gas discoveries and other minerals in Guyana. Back to Mr. Shridath's Ramphal points and messages. This particular comment is already beginning to ring through, as the process has attracted condemnation from several of its diplomatic partners, such as Guyana and Norway. Norway, my words, has just withdrawn any kind of financial support that was negotiated by Dr. and former President Bharat Jagdeo in order to help to save the world and prevent green gas emissions by using our forests to provide oxygen as a breath, as a lungs of the earth. And the international observer groups the President had invited have made terrible observations, critique and condemnations, and are most disappointed. Myself, as an observer, listened to their words as we chatted together as fellow observers, that they never saw such things. Back to Mr. Ramphal's missive. Ramphal said that CARICOM is committed to Guyana and that it can help Guyana to realize that narrow considerations to the contrary that could mar Guyana's prospects and retard the strides that the people of Guyana have collectively made. He further urged that peace and progress be pursued lawfully and transparently. Dearest friends and families around the world, today Guyana is on the throes of international disgrace. Once again, we are becoming a pariah, a disgrace in CARICOM. The people who are beginning now in CARICOM to look up to us will once again start to have benches for us and look down upon us as a disgrace and a bad example. Guyana government, minister of the government and ministers, and the big ones of the APNU AFC, you are bringing shame to Guyana and you're trying to make yourselves look as the hero. I am sorry. I am not a political person, but I am a Guyanese and I love my people and I have certain skills and I must use my skills for Guyana. Cost it what you do to me, as was tried in 2015 within 3 months to destroy me and my business. Cost it what it will. I will always be professional. I'll carry out my mandate as a professional, but as a Guyanese, I must speak. If good people don't speak, then the evil people will eventually preponderate and there will be no one else left to look after the one who was silent. You, the people, listen to my words. And now I go on to a note from Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and also former Prime Minister of Barbados and the head of the Commonwealth delegation. Dearest friends and families, now a letter, a release that was published in the newspapers and television in Guyana and hitting around the world. There are forces that do not want to see the votes recounted in Guyana. Mottley. Mottley is the current Prime Minister of Barbados and head of CARICOM as we know it. She says there are forces that do not want to see the votes recounted. I say they are dark forces. I include the word dark forces. This is a statement by Chairman of the Caribbean Community CARICOM, the Honorable Mayor Amor Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, on the withdrawal of CARICOM high-level team. The Caribbean Community CARICOM deeply regrets that it has been forced to withdraw the independent high-level team it fielded on Saturday, 14th March 2020, to supervise the recounting of the ballots in Region 4 of the Guyana general and regional elections of 2nd March 2020 in Guyana. The fielding of the team had been at the request of His Excellency David Granger, President of Guyana, on Saturday, 14th March 2020. In response, and given the urgency of the task, the team was mobilized and immediately arrived in Guyana in the early hours of Sunday morning. Given that the tabulation process had been widely viewed as not being transparent or credible, President Granger and Mr. Barajagdeo, leader of the opposition, agreed that the only possible resolution was by way of a recount supervised by an independent team. This was seen as a significant contribution to bolstering the transparency and legitimacy of the electoral process of Guyana. This step forward had been anchored by an aide memoir sent by both leaders on 16th March 2020, and the terms of reference prepared by the Guyana Elections Commission to govern the role of the high-level team on Sunday, 15th March 2020, for the supervision of the recounting of the ballots, not only in Region 4, but in all 10 electoral districts. A court order issued on 17th March 2020 granted an injunction restraining GCOM from recounting any ballots of the general and regional elections of 2nd March 2020 and set aside any agreement between the President of Guyana and the leader of the opposition, and or any agreement between the Guyana Elections Commission and the Caribbean community. The Caribbean community has no other choice but to withdraw the high-level team. It is clear that there are forces that do not want to see the votes recounted for whatever reasons. Any government which is sworn in without a credible and fully transparent vote count process would lack legitimacy. I would like to thank the high-level team for offering to serve at such short notice and for displaying the patience they have displayed over the last 3 days. The team was led by Ms. Francine Baron, former Attorney General and Foreign Minister of Dominica, included Mr. Anthony Botswain, former Minister of Finance of Grenada, and Ms. Cynthia Barrow-Giles, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies. They were accompanied by Ms. Angela Taylor and Ms. Fern Narcissus Scope, the Chief Elections Officer of Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago. As I said in an earlier statement, it is critical that good sense prevail. The preservation of law and order is paramount, and all parties must work hard to ensure that there is peace on the roads and in the communities across Guyana. The community remains committed to the people of Guyana. The CARICOM community remains committed to the people of Guyana.